Let me show you guys how I paint my Tyranid in the High Fleet TMX color scheme. I've already primed it with the Army Painter brush on primer. Next, I'm going to use this green shade for his skin. I'm using a fine point brush. I've learned that on smaller pieces, a smaller brush works really good when applying shades, a Studio 0 size. This is a King Art brush. I just got this at Ross for really cheap. I recommend getting cheap brushes when you start out. I want to saturate as much as I can in the green shade to get into the crevices. This is how you have the frosty look at the end. So it's important to put a good coat of this on everywhere I'm going to dry brush later. Next, I'm going to move on to this layer rust gray. Now, I am not adding water to this. I am using it directly from the pot. The Citadel layers, you don't have to water down if you're using it as a base. I'm using a Studio Size 1 paintbrush for this. You want to make sure you get all of the Tyranid's armor that's on his back, the top of his head, and his legs, and last but not least, his weapon has two little parts you need to get as well. Later on, I'm going to put a shade on top of this, and it's going to make it come out a bit of a turquoise color. Next, I'm going to use this contrast Black Templar for its claws and its hooves. I'm using this to make the process a little faster, using a Studio 3/0 size brush. The benefits of a contrast paint: you don't have to water it down, you just apply it, and sometimes it can accent the edges and have its own highlights in it. Next, I'm going to add this yellow shade to the weapon to make it a little different than the rest of his body. Using the same brush because the weapon is really small, so I want to make sure I get all of it. Now it's time to dry brush. I am using a dry brush from the Army Painter. This is the smaller one they have in the set of 3, and I'm going to go over it with White Star. It is a layer, so I'm not going to water it down. I'm going to saturate the top of my dry brush and the sides, and I try and get a little in the middle, and I want to wipe off the excess on the side of the pot. It still has too much paint on it, so I'm going to get a sponge and take off the excess paint on the sides first, and then I'm going to do the top down so I can get the middle parts. If I were to just dry brush it without doing this, it'll just paint the whole thing white. Go lightly, you just want that top layer. When I do this, I realize I still have a little too much on it. A little too much white came on. So I'm going to wipe some more off onto the sponge, and it should have a better consistency now. And I like the way it's coming out now. You want to go against the grain when you are dry brushing, especially on these little Tyranids. You can see where the white is catching all the edges and creating these nice highlights. Also, get the weapon. Don't neglect the face. Dry brushing is one of the most relaxing things you can do while painting. Look up slap chop method if you want to do more with dry brushing. Also, don't forget to dry brush the top, and again, go against the armor so you can really get the raised areas. I sometimes will stick the dry brush in between areas too and give it a little twist so you can get the areas that you couldn't get because the arms are in the way. Once that's done, I'm going to touch up the black on the hooves and his claws because I got a lot of white on it. So that's another benefit of the contrast paint. It makes easy touch-ups when you are painting. And now that I got a little bit of the white dry brush on the edges, it'll just make the highlights a little more pronounced. I saw an area on the leg that I missed with the green shade, so I'm going to go back over it. Don't be afraid to go back over areas that you missed with shades or highlights or any base paints. Even if you've moved on a little bit, you can always fix it. Now comes the fun part. You're going to use earth shade for the areas that I painted the rust gray, and this is where it's going to have more of a turquoise look. So I want to saturate the paintbrush with a good amount and slowly pull it down so that the shade can fall into the cracks, and you can see that dry brushing I did before. You have those white highlights on the edge. This gives it that snowy, frosty look that we want for these Tyranids, like they are busting out of a frozen tundra. Next, I'm going to use some speed paint, this yellow speed paint from the Army Painter. I'm going to use this on the open areas that's on his legs and arms to give him a bit of an accent. Also going to use it on parts of his weapon as well. I also use some of it for the eyes. I'm going to add some more color to that later. Next, I'm going to use this moot green for his tongue. Next, I'm going to try and accent his eyes with this really bright yellow. I used this on my Von Ryan Leapers and they came out really, really well. I had a little too much on my paintbrush, so I want to take some of it off. So it didn't go on as smoothly as I wanted it to. So what I decided to do was paint the entire eye and around the eye, and I'm going to add in some Nuln oil in a little bit to soften it. I'm going to touch up some areas with the Black Templar paint that I missed. I saw there was some claws on his weapon, so I'm going to paint those to match. For his teeth, I'm going to use this layer Screaming Skull. It's perfect for accenting teeth and claws, but I'm only using it on the teeth for this guy. Next, we are going to use good old Nuln oil. I'm going to add this on his eyes so that I can have more of a shadow between his eyelid and his eyeball and give it a little more definition. Next, I'm going to work on the base. I'm going to use this Iron Crust. This one is perfect for any mini. I'm going to put it down and then later I can add some snow. I'm using a messed up brush here. It's really hard. I let some paint dry on it. You don't want to use a nice brush for this. And you want to put on like a nice little glob of it and then just smash it down so that you have like raised areas so it looks like there's little rocks underneath it and clumps of dirt. To avoid getting it all over the mini, you'll see I am spinning the paintbrush so I can get it off of the tip of the paintbrush and I'm able to smash it down easier. Next, I'm going to add an accent of some snowy grass, where I'm going to put just under his foot. Always a good location to put any grass. I'm going to use this layer Lothran blue for his armor, where I just did little lines going down it. I am done. I'm happy with the way it came out. Follow along for more.